Welcome back. We have two members of the Senate this morning, as Aburu has told us. We have Senator Wetangula and Senator Wamatangi. Now, we are discussing this matter of the by-election that took place yesterday. And we want to see what the senators think about those by-elections. They were very hot. There was a lot of complaints of bribery. There was matters about violence in Mombasa, in Malindi. So, Mheshimiwa.
Yes, Mutegi, good morning.
First shot.
Good morning. How have you been since I last saw you here?
Yes.
I have been watching closely the by-elections in both Malindi and Kericho. Where do we start? Were these by-elections necessary? I think they were not necessary, but now that they've happened, I think they are necessary to give us a trajectory on where we are going. The executive could have picked people from outside Parliament, not to occasion the excessive use of public resources so that we put them elsewhere. But we have gone through it. The by-elections in both constituencies of Kericho County and Malindi have been very hotly contested. I have been in Malindi for quite some time with my colleagues to campaign for our party and the coalition of CORD. I also quietly visited Kericho to just have a feel on what is going on. And this gives us two things. Number one, in Kericho, the gentleman who has won from JAP, Chariot, I started by congratulating him for the people of Kericho voting for him. But it also has shown that there is now room for a serious contest in the Rift Valley. Remember, in the last general election, those who are running against the side of the deputy president could hardly garner 3,000–4,000 votes. But today, Sang has gotten more than 50% of the vote cast in Kericho. So if I was the deputy president who is the political supremo in the region, it's a wake-up call, and it would make you think twice. But from where I sit, we're quite happy that this has happened. In Malindi, we had no illusion whatsoever that the seat was ours. We were going to win it. The indications were quite clear from the rallies we held, the people we met, the opinion leaders, the community leaders, and so on. But what worries me, Mutegi and my brother Wamatangi, about Malindi and the direction I'm seeing is the serious ethnic overtones that I saw emerge as we campaigned. This really worries me to the extent that the paralysis that we are driving the country to in terms of ethnicized politics is not good for our country.
What does that mean? Why why ethnicized the issue? Is it because there are certain settlers who went there?
You know,
soon after independence.
there are areas where people from all communities have settled, and they have integrated very well. There are other areas where the integration has probably either not been properly managed, or has not been properly encouraged, or has not been attempted at all. And I could see, I could feel, I could hear that indeed ethnic politics was quite on the front line of the campaigns at some levels. And I even cautioned in a public rally that this country must move as one. That the Constitution allows anybody and everybody to own property and live anywhere. And those who do so must also strive to integrate with those they live with. You don't come to your village, Mutegi, and maintain a distinct, exclusive identity and expect to be impressed by those people you have settled in. We must learn how to integrate.
Senator Wamatangi, what is your...
Of course, before Wamatangi comes in, let me not forget to congratulate our candidate, William Baraka Mutengo, whom I spoke to several times last night, whom I spoke to this morning, and for whom I send messages to radio stations to tell him, well done, my younger brother, well done for being given the confidence by the people of Malindi. Sasa kazi inaanza, na kazi tu, hakuna kitu ingine.
Senator Wamatangi, what's your take on that?
Thank you. Let me first begin by congratulating the two winners for both by-elections. The winner in the Kericho by-election and also the winner in the Malindi by-election. And also congratulate those who competed with them because they put up a gallant competition, especially in the spirit of democracy, which is what we are made of. And then also to quickly say that in the course of our service delivery as Jubilee government, it is necessary for us to ask ourselves the question, what is the best way to give services to our people? And besides that, then we go to the next question is, who are the best people to offer or deliver the services we wish to offer our people within this period? And so in the quest to answer that question and pick out the best people, we realized that, for example, in the Kericho case, we have to ask the former senator to step up and deliver services to the people of this country at the level of a minister of energy, a cabinet secretary, and the same in Malindi. Consequentially, then that necessitates the by-election.
The question is, the question people are asking, was the senator the best person?
But that notwithstanding, Motegi, that question may come. Like I've said, the first question is who is best suited to deliver services to the people? That's the first question. Our issue was not, are we going to win the elections or not elections? That was not our focus.
Somebody to be in the cabinet.
And once we have got a candidate who is able to deliver on what our manifesto and our work plan is, then we can come to the issue of the elections. And as my colleague Senator Wetangula has said, let me say in the first place, we never presumed anything. We never took anything into assumptions. We know that democracy is competitive. We know that the people have a right to choose whom they want. We went into the by-elections in Kericho, and more so, let me say that as members of Jubilee, we believed verily that the work that we have been doing with the people, the way we have rolled out our manifesto, we didn't for any 1 minute. I think that we needed to over-worry. We needed to let the people exercise their freedom, campaign the way they want to campaign, and it is healthy what has happened, because I must say that you know, when we took over government in 2013, it was never our assumption that it was going to be an easy ride, that there were not going to be issues that we must deal with between now and then. And we are now looking at that, and this is a good gauge for us. What else do we need to do more? And also, especially like in Malindi, as also my colleague said, largely because of the cosmopolitan nature of Malindi itself, a lot of factors come into play. And I think, as is well said, the question of ethnicity, as has been said by Senator Wetangula, is a matter we must deal with, and deal with it effectively, to ensure that Kenyans can compete as Kenyans wherever they are. And also, I would also want to ask my colleague to be in the forefront of promoting that, you know, when they are doing their campaigns, you know, especially as CORD, you know, to put in the forefront the necessity, that question to our people, that when we are competing for political space, for leadership, the first thing we have to remember is that we are Kenyans, and that way we get to win. Let me congratulate the people of Malindi, the people of Kericho, for giving themselves leaders. We believe that now this is a good opportunity for us as government for the next 18 months before the next general election to fulfill what remains in our manifesto, in our policies, and together now as a team will work. I would want to quickly hasten to add that this is now a time for us to build bridges, to bring people together, say to all those that competed with us in Kericho, in Malindi that we are one country, we are one people. The purpose and intention of the election is not to divide Kenyans, is not to bring about polarization or division of thoughts, is about letting the people exercise their right to choose a leader and then quickly close ranks, and we get to work together as a country and ensure that the beneficiary is the mwananchi.
Right.
You want to say something?
Yes, Mutegi. I like the way Senator Wamatangi, collectively says we appointed, we considered. I hope you are in the tribunal that appoints ministers. Mr. Mutegi Njau, the problem we have, I nearly said Mr. Speaker.
No, I'm not a speaker.
I thought I was on the floor. What also has come to the fore, of course, let's start where we started. Were these by-elections necessary? They were not. We have spent public resources on what was avoidable. That is pure and simple. But what has also come into question now is the ugly head of corruption in politics that we have seen, particularly in the two by-elections. Massive voter bribery, massive voter influence using state resources, and we are just slipping back to the bad old habits.
So that, to me, was practiced by both parties. But there are reports.
If you waited to hear me,
before you go on,
yes,
there were reports that Bomet County resources were used. There were reports that both CORD and Jubilee people in Mombasa bribed. There were pictures of them. Both groups.
Two wrongs don't make a right.
Yes,
we must start from there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Number one. Number two, in Kericho, forget about even the cash handouts to people. We saw a situation where the troops led by the deputy president, and he visited several times, even embark on tamaking roads because of the by-election and launching public projects because of the by-election. The same old things that we used to do in Kipipiri and other places. This doesn't augur well for our country. And
the people of that area deserve roads.
The roads must be given to people regardless on whether there's an electoral process or not, because every part of this country deserves good roads. But when the government of the day walks in with heavy equipment and public resources and say, we are doing this road, vote for us, that is part of political corruption. If a governor of any county takes public funds to put into politics, that is political corruption. It must be condemned. If IBC, as currently constituted, together with other agencies of governance in the country, cannot be able to stem the tide of political corruption, then the country is definitely headed in the wrong direction. You saw in Malindi yesterday, several MPs allied to our brothers in Jubilee were arrested distributing money to voters inside polling stations. We have the case.
No.
Let me finish.
Even your own person.
Let me finish. Starting with the case of my brother Waititu. And even if the MPs from CORD did that, the question that we ask Mutegi, and you can ask this from where you sit,
is not.
Etale was accused of media postings, not of distributing money. I have even seen the charge they want to prefer against him. It is simply said to be an electoral malpractice of sending out tweets and other messages. That
the policeman said that he had
didn't like
material. Yes. Material. He was found with material.
Not money. But we're talking about the abuse of public resources. Because I know for a fact, and you have been in the political arena for a very long time,
sure,
those MPs who are distributing money, I even received stray SMSs being told, Mheshimiwa, come to the office of Honorable Duale, pick your air tickets, you'll be told which hotel to go and where to get money to participate in the by-election. So these were public resources, for sure. This is something we should not condone. This is something we must speak against. But more importantly, is the ability of IEBC and other state agencies to stamp out this wrongdoing, criminal wrongdoing. You saw yesterday, members of the public exercising their rights and power to arrest, which they can. Arrest people, they take them to the police, and when they get to the police, because they are from what is seen as government, they are let to go. Even though protests at the police station. We want fairness, and fairness demands that if an MP of CORD, Ford Kenya, Wiper, ODM, is found in a malpractice, the law must apply evenly as against the MP of Jubilee or any other party, for that matter. That is where the country must go.
Let us hear the response of ourselves so far from Senator Wamatangi.
Mutagi, to begin with, and I'm sure Senator Wetangula has been in Parliament for a while, and he's participated in quite a number of general elections, and himself being a lawyer, he knows very well that democracy is an expensive exercise. Every time, for example, the general elections themselves that we're intending to hold in 2017 are budgeted to cost close to 30 billion. So, you know, you cannot...
That's what I believe.
So you cannot use the excuse that you want to say that money is going to be spent, so you're not going to let people exercise their right to vote and choose who is going to lead them. But then also, you see, on that claim that that roads are being done because there is an election or projects are ongoing, you see, if right now, and I'm going to say that my colleague, he goes around quite a lot in this country during the CORD rallies and campaigns, and you'll notice, if we are honest about what you're saying, that projects on roads, energy, and all manner of projects, the SGR, they're ongoing all over the country. It doesn't matter whether there's a by-election or there isn't. Now, our policy as Jubilee government is to ensure that every single project, whether there's an election or there's no election, that we have promised is going to be done, and that's what we're doing. You know, sorry if it appeared to CORD that in Kericho the roads were being done because of the election. Those roads have been ongoing, not only in Kericho, but all over. Yes. But there's something very important that the Senator has touched on, which needs to be answered to correctly for the interest of this country, and that is on the question of corruption or political corruption, and especially use of state resources. That's a very, very important point. It bears on all of us to bring out for what's happening. And you know, as they say, because one, Senator Wetangula is a principal in CORD, it will be of great use, of great benefit to this country if you could be the first one, Senator, to stand strong and stand true and firm on the use of state resources. Because what's happening, you saw like in the by-elections in Malindi, those by-elections were actually being led by Governor Joho and Governor Kingi. And what is happening, and this is one of my main concerns as a senator, is that, for example, and this has been especially and largely abused from the CORD side of governance, because once they receive the monies that we have been sending to them, there is actually a rumor that goes around, maybe Senator Wetangula, because he's here, he will confirm or deny it to us, that CORD governors actually retain a kitty every month of 2 million per governor to ensure that they send for the use by the secretariat and the leadership. And tell me, how is it that if Senator Wetangula claims that state resources were being used because the deputy president was in Kericho, then is it equally true that resources belonging to the public were being used in Malindi because the two governors were there? But I want to say this. I want to say this as a matter of fact. Even in Kericho, where the other governors were. But I want to say this as a matter of fact, for the interest of the country, and not because we are politicking or because we are talking about elections, which I'm a Jubilee member, that unless we deal with this problem, especially at the level of governance, where they receive money, they hive off. And Senator Wetangula's governor was yesterday he's famous for his wheelbarrows, which is doing one at over 100,000.
He's a Jubilee senator. He's a Jubilee governor.
No, he's a governor in Bungoma.
He's a Jubilee governor.
Now, the point is this. The point is this. Yes. That one, there's money that the governors, for example, Senator Wetangula, and I sit in the Public Accounts Committee as in Senate, as you know.
Yes.
And it's been very worrisome, actually, to me, that we normally get governors, especially from the Jubilee side, coming there to be grilled with all the allegations. Even, in fact, we have even impeached one from the Jubilee and almost saved another one, you know, eventually when he was cleared. But if you look at the court side of governors, nobody ever gets there. Now, so our question has been, what is happening? And it is almost coming out true that these resources that we give for use by the public at the county level, and because of the weakness of legislation, because we've given oversight to members of the county assembly, is what is being misused. And that's why I've stated clearly, because the CORD leadership is here.
Yes.
If this 2 million is going from every governor of the CORD side to the secretariat to lead the campaigns, this one has got to be dealt with firmly and surely to make sure that this doesn't happen.
Mutagi, one, the issue that CORD governors contribute money to the CORD leadership is false. As a principal in CORD, I would know. Not a cent. In fact, our parties are run by contributions from our members. I personally, as a member of the Senate from Bungoma, contribute, so do others, 20,000 to my party every month and 10,000 to the coalition CORD every month. That's what we use to run our politics. No governor contributes any cent to CORD on a monthly or annual basis. Number two, the participation of Governor Kingi and Governor Joe in the campaigns in Mombasa were legitimate. These are our governors. They are elected on CORD parties. And this was a by-election where our territory was under assault.
The question is whether
the issue, yes,
resources from
I'm coming to that.
Yeah.
If you go to Parliament, and Parliament is a public institution, you'll find that all members of Parliament, both National Assembly and Senate of CORD, signed a check-off to contribute towards the Malindi by-election. I paid, everybody else paid, and Parliament released a composite check to take to Malindi. We fundraised from well-wishers. If any governor used any resources, personal or otherwise, if it's personal, well and good. If it is not personal, it is not any different from the deputy president flying to Malindi to campaign for a Jubilee candidate using military aircrafts, using state resources, and sitting in hotels and people taking the queue from for hours on end to receive handouts to go and convolute the electoral process. Those incidents are condemnable.
No,
and I can also tell you
probably
that let me finish, Wamatangi. When you talked, I remained dead silent.
Right.
And it's a virtue to do so too. When we talk about the levels of accountability, yes, we have said it on the floor of the House, I've said it in public meetings, I've said it in CORD meetings, that the levels of accountability in the counties is wanting. That the county assemblers of all county assemblies need to up their game as primary oversight institutions. In some cases, some have been captured by governors, so they are like defenders, not oversighters of governors. And that is a situation we must deal with. But the Constitution was not blind to this. That's why we have institutions like anti-corruption, where the other oversight political bodies don't do their work and corruption is there, CID is there, the judiciary is there, the controller and the auditor general is there, and the Senate is there. And it sits in the committee that should nail all the wrongdoers. Number three, it is not correct that governors from CORD side have not come to the Senate for grilling. Nanok of Turkana is ODM and CORD, has been there to your committee. Sospito Jamong of Busia has been there. Operanyo of Kakamega is even in court over Senate issues. Murutu of Taita Taveta, Mvuria of Kwale. I can count on and on, because whenever they come to the Senate committee, as a matter of duty, being our CORD governors, they pass at my office just to sign a visitor's book. And I've seen them come, and they have said, we come here to supplicate ourselves to the oversight role of the Senate. So it is not like, and indeed, if that has happened, then Senator Wamatangi, your committee is letting down the country, is letting down the Senate, is letting down everybody, the taxpayer. Because your duty is to act without ill will, without any fear or favor. Summon every governor and ask them to account.
We need to go now to the by-election.
Can I take a very quick one on that one, because on my reply, and especially on that last part, because like I said, Senator Wetangula, it has been very loudly said in the public domain that there is a direct instruction from the main principle of CORD that no CORD governor should be impeached by the MCAs, and that is why you find, if you ask yourself in the history of the Senate, which CORD governor has ever been brought on charges of impeachment or on a charge to be impeached? None. Zero. And that is why it has been largely said, and conventional wisdom, Mutegi, can give you rough figures of how much would it cost, for example, for the CORD brigade to traverse this country the way they do on rallies, on campaigns, of this corner, on that corner. And you ask yourself, are these funds truly from what Senator Wetangula is talking about, their contributions as members? You find that that may be hardly, may be far from the truth. But lastly, on the question of, does the Deputy President fly to Malindi and the people queue? I think because we are leaders of virtue and integrity.
We have pictures to this effect. So this is not a matter that we should contest.
It is very, very important.
And we saw military aircraft.
It is very important for us to be, to uphold virtue and only say those things that which we can truly support. And also, don't forget that the Deputy President right now has got a constitutional duty to serve this country. And whether there is a by-election or no by-election does not put his work or duties on hold, so that the by-election can first be finished and then he continues with his work. He can serve the people of Malindi, the people of Kericho, the people of Turkana, or any part of this country.
Campaigning in military helicopters.
No. He was not campaigning on, that's why I said to Senator Wetangula that it is very, very important. And I don't want to belabor that point, because, we are a dignified house, and especially on the question of, do we say and stand with the things that we know are true and we can support? On that one, I would not want to engage him. I would want to stand clear and say that I don't want to be speculative, because I know that doesn't happen. He doesn't do it. But let's not try to invite public participation or popularity by saying things which are not necessarily true.
Friday, I escorted Kalonzo Musyoka, my partner and colleague, to the airport in Malindi to take a KQ flight to Nairobi. The Deputy President was there, taking a military aircraft from Malindi back to Nairobi. These are facts. You cannot deny them. And let's move on. What do this by-election portend for the future? Those are facts. You can't dispute them.
Well, they're facts. They're facts to you, because you said I saw or you had.
Hire military aircraft. The military is not in the business.
It is wrong to go that way, because it is really simply the senator's word against the truth.
If the senator says you saw a aircraft,
that's what I'm saying.
The senator knows what a military aircraft is.
The operations that are going on in Lamu, the landing place is in where there's an airport is in Malindi. There is work ongoing in Malindi. So it is presumptuous. It is highly presumptuous for you to see any military helicopter.
We saw a lot of helicopters in Kericho with the Kano flags. Anyway, that's the point.
They were higher.
The point is this, that
now that we are through
these elections,
the
Kericho by-election was seen as if it was testing the mettle of the Deputy President as a leader of the Rift Valley.
Yes.
And that if he lost, it was going to be, in fact, the interpretation was that CORD itself was very much influential, although Kanu is part of Jubilee. But they were saying that CORD was using those fellows so that they can divide the people of the Rift Valley. But now you have failed.
Let me tell you, Mutegi and fellow Kenyans. Number one, cord parties, Wiper, ODM, Ford Kenya, did not field any candidate in Kericho. We had people who came to us, but we decided, let's not field any candidate, let's concentrate on Malindi. Let's concentrate on Malindi, because that is a seat that was snatched away, being snatched away from us. Number two, if you analyze properly, and I know you, Mutegi, for a long time, you are a very astute political analyst, right from our days at the university. You know that if you take the aggregate of what has happened in Kericho, vis-a-vis the influence of my friend William Samoei Ruto in the Rift Valley, he has lost. His candidate has won the seat, but he has left there a bruised man. He has an egg on the face. He was put to strict proof of many things. He was subjected to arguments in public. In his presence, his own people were tear-gassed in Kericho. You saw it on the news. In his presence, you saw the number of people that turned up to listen to the alternative voice. In his presence, you saw the number of leaders.
That's democracy.
That is democracy, that's okay, but it tells volumes. The number of people, MPs, who were very close to him, who crossed the Rubicon to say things that ordinarily they don't say. But above all, where we started, that KANU was able to get more than 50% of the vote cast in Kericho, where the deputy president had said he was going to have a landslide, he was going to take them a lesson, they were moving to opposition. Remember that KANU has an agreement with Jubilee as part of Jubilee. In the Senate, Senator Wamatangi knows, KANU senators Gideon Moi, Professor Lonyangapu, and Spora Kitonyi sit on the same side with him as Jubilee. So this was sibling rivalry that has definitely left the deputy president bruised. Cheriot has won, and I've congratulated him. But if you look at the outcome of this and the future of the politics of the Rift Valley, it won't be the same. Now people will stand up and ask questions, and people will see alternatives.
But people have questioned also. Let's get the response from you.
I think I would be keen to answer that one, especially because I'm not so sure. I think Senator Wetangula is a well-traveled man, but I don't know the last time he was in Kericho. Must have been a while back. And if you've not been there,
I was in Kericho 3 weeks ago.
It would be good. Maybe you didn't go around very well. To begin with, Kericho is a very cosmopolitan place. You find that you find all Kenyans from every community and every background in Kericho. And so it is presumptuous to first imagine that you have a monolithic thought or political affiliation in Kericho. Secondly, I don't know from which book of politics the senator is referring to, by comparing, and I was saying that the deputy president would have lost that by-election by virtue of the fact that the young man, Cheriot, won the seat to begin with. He won that seat fairly. He won it with a landslide over 100,000 votes cast by more than 50% of his competitor. But that notwithstanding, you see, our faith as Jubilee in the people of this country is that we must give every single person, every community, the right to determine and decide whom do they want to elect, notwithstanding whether the deputy president is present or not. In fact, that is immaterial.
Do you think the deputy president was bruised by the fact that...
bruised where? Bruised for what? I mean, you saw actually on the day of voting, he was comfortable running in Nairobi. In the first ladies marathon. Are those the signs of a bruised man? Are those the signs of an anxious man? After that,
voting was yesterday.
After that, a day before. After that, he went to Alliance High School. He went there. He was with the children, and did his things and went home. Now, those are not the symptoms of signs of an anxious man. Let me tell you, and I think this is the strongest pointer and time for Jubilee, that indeed an election like that one can be held within your stronghold. You can let people freely determine and decide, and even give them the right to dissent, those who wish to. But eventually, the best man wins. The best policies win. And let me probably disabuse that notion that the senator tries to create, that indeed that there was this perceived battle and fight with per se the genuine followers of KANU. The issue here was that, and as Senator said when he was starting, that they never participated in the elections.
We didn't.
That is true at face value. In reality, it is not true, because there were people who were sent, people who were imported and others transported from all over to go and create that impression. Let me tell you, as a matter of fact, if you went by what was happening in the political scenario that a day or 2 days or a week before the elections, the impression that was created was different. In fact, everybody thought, how is this election going to turn out? Because CORD went into overdrive, including its allies, to go and pump up. By the way, and I want to say this, and it's been said to the genuine followers of KANU, we've said it ourselves. We have no issue with them. They can exercise their democratic right. I mean, continue with political persuasion as they may wish. But what spoils the party, what spoils the movement, is when now you have the hangabout, when you have the introduction of these hidden, campaigners and people brought in by their
Let me come back to that point.
And let me summarize by saying this, because it is important for the country to know where the truth is, and the truth is expressed by the ballot and the outcome. Okay, you can see the number of votes the winner got and number 2 got. That is the will and the wish of the people.
What do you say to the fact that you and URP, which is Jubilee, members of parliament, campaigning against
exactly
the URP person? Not one member, not Qatar only. Many. There is a crack. There is a crack in Europe.
You're asking me the question.
Let me count them, then you answer. Charles Qatar was there, URP. Oscar Sudi, URP. Zakayo Cheriot, URP. Senator Olendutu, URP. The man of Emurua Digiri,
yes,
URP. The Ndutu MP in the National Assembly, URP, all under many others we can count. Those who are neither
let me answer you the question.
These
from
are
the
URP MPs.
I want to answer to you this question from the perspective of Jubilee. Now, I want to remind you, Senator Wetangula, that as much as you call yourselves CORD, you don't call yourselves Ford Kenya, or you don't call yourselves ODM and all those other myriad parties. We are Jubilee. We do not consist of only URP and TNA. We are a collection of many parties which have come up together to form that one movement of thought and mind called Jubilee. Now, when we are in there, we are in the house of Jubilee now. One thing that we have done, and I want this to be clear to you and all and sundry, is that all the doors in and out of the Jubilee house are open. We are a hypermarket, such that when you come in there, you come and find and read our manifesto and what we stand for, and you join our movement. But you're also free to leave. You're also free to express dissent within the house.
I'm sure.
And if for any one time, and this I want to say for the sake of anyone who may have gotten the wrong impression during those by-elections, that there is not one single member of the Jubilee coalition who has ever been told that you cannot speak against this, or you can't speak against that, or you can express yourself, or you can stay in, or you can go out. Now, this one
is very dangerous.
You are not like ODM, which removes them.
Selective amnesia is very dangerous. When we were in Migor in Homa Bay, Reggae campaigned against our candidate, his ODM. He's still a member. But what my brother here is forgetting, Mutegi, is he cannot come to terms with the fact that the MPs we have counted belong to URP. Number 2.
No, I said to you they belong to Jubilee.
The bruise on the bruise on the president's deputy president's face goes further down to Nyangores. What happened in Nyangores ward, where URP fielded a candidate and got less than half of the votes that Isaac Ruto's party got in the by-election.
To begin with,
again he left there thoroughly bruised. And do you know what happened in Nyangores?
In the Nyangores.
Do you know what happened in Nyangores? Jubilee sent there at least, the count I have, 45 members of parliament. They were living in 5-star hotels in the Mara with helicopters, senators, members of the National Assembly. The deputy president himself went there, and they ended up getting less than 40% of the vote that the winner got.
I can answer you on Nyangores.
You can hide, you can explain about democratic romanticism. Our doors are open, you can walk in and walk out. But the deputy president was in Kericho calling these MPs who had rebelled names. And it's on your clips on TV, telling them that these are rebels who are leading the community to the opposition, forgetting that Kanu is part of Jubilee, saying that we cannot accept this, we cannot countenance this, these MPs are rebellious and we must deal with them. He was fighting for his political life. And I'm telling you, Cheriot has won, but he's left bruised.
Fine, let's deal with that Nyangores issue, because looks like, and by the way, you know, you guys in COD, you know, you've really made it a big deal. I think you've been short of material for a long time. So the Nyangores outcome has given you a lot of you know, some talking points for a while now. And but sorry to disappoint you, because you know, Nyangores to begin with was not really a very big deal for Jubilee, as you may have presumed. But because the outcome came the way it was, that made very good political capital for COD to try and show as though Jubilee is losing. But we proved it to you in Kericho. But let me say this about Nyangores, because these are facts. These are facts about Nyangores. The first thing that requires, and this brings us to where we started, Motegi, on the question of, and I want this really to be taken seriously, how much money is leaving the coffers of the public through governors and taken to do or to campaign for people at elections? And I want to tell you this for sure, the amount of money that came in from governors into the Nyangores by-election for an MCA was humongous, huge money coming from the back door. And Senator Wetangula is comfortable counting how many members of parliament. He should count the members of COD who came incognito, carrying bags of money from governors to influence the outcome of that by-election. But they thought, you know, that time you thought by firing that shot that you have got it. But like I've said, we proved it. Now on this question of the DP was in Kericho saying this, I think you didn't follow clearly. And I'm saying this to you as an insider in Jubilee myself. Our principle and policy is simple. If today Wamatangi feels like he wants to exit the house of Jubilee and stand on the rooftop and say that I want to walk this way or this one, I think you're at will and free to do that. We are not like a COD senator, and I think this is a fundamental difference.
Wamatangi, will play. Don't exaggerate your role.
Absolutely not, my friend. You know, I'm the senator for Kiambu, my friend. And so let me tell you. We are running out of time. Let me tell you, my brother. As far as COD is concerned, I'll tell you, my friend, that you may have overstated the outcome or the value or the arsenal you think you have gained for this few years. And because especially you had been trying to drum up a lot of negative sentiments against the government and against Jubilee, now you know that the people of this country want to affiliate, they want to identify themselves with action, with work, with things that are happening. Yeah. You know, and on that one of Malindi, by the way, you're forgetting something very important. Motegi, during the last general election, the COD candidate for Malindi won by 28,000 votes. The Jubilee candidate that time had 5,000 votes. We have made huge strides towards ensuring that, one, we do not only catch up with them and get the people to think and see the reality that there is a difference between what you say you would do and what is really done. The vote was won by 15,000 and 9,000, which is 70,000 to 50%.
There is not much difference. We had COD MPs campaigning for Jubilee candidate in Malindi. Is it?
Yes,
is it
yes. Gideon Mungaro was the team leader.
Yes, and my friend the cameraman.
Yes, that was, they are leading, even my own deputy party leader, Khatib Mwashetani, from Lungalunga, was campaigning for a Jubilee candidate. Yeah. That is true. Now, it shows that there is a rebellion on both sides. Yeah. But we were talking about the political ramifications of Kericho.
But you're forgetting, Senator, that you be whipped to those people.
Make your last remark.
My last remark is this, Mutegi and Kenyans, that these by-elections, unnecessary as they were, have given us a necessary message and lesson. Number one, it has shown that in Malindi, CORD remains the most popular outfit. CORD remains unassailable. And even in the face of a state machine that we saw, it won.
You have rebellion there also?
Number two, that each of the political divides, both CORD and Jubilee, are having some reasonable degree of rebellion. Yeah. Number three, that what has happened in Malindi is worrisome to the extent that unless IEBC ups the game in stamping out political corruption and negative ethnicity in politics, it can send the country in the wrong direction. Number four, and more important, is that the deputy president, who has had a field day calling opposition leaders like ourselves noisemakers, kelele churas, junini, is actually a bruised and frightened man coming out of what happened in Nyangore's ward and in Kericho. Finally, there is not, because I have the record, there is not a single CORD member of parliament who campaigned in Nyangore's or Kericho. None. This was sibling rivalry between Gideon Moise Kanu and William Ruto's URP rebranded as JAP, which many people joke that JAP means just another problem.
Senator, final word before we conclude.
Yeah, thank you. I want to congratulate once more the voters and the people of Kericho, the people of Malindi, and say one more time that this has proved that the House of Jubilee is a house of democracy, is a house of truth, faith, and we are vibrant, we are open, and to say we are unlike our opposition, in court. We don't de-whip our members when they dissent. We let them express themselves, and that happened in Kericho, in another place, and we are happy to tell all our members that we are ready to build bridges, get to forge with our work together, bring this nation up as one, and ensure that we fulfill the promises. Our most important thing right now is to ensure that this country can move forward as one, that we can fulfill the promises that we've made to the people of this country, and ensure that come 2017 we have a record that we can show. Our record will not be based on how much noise we made, as opposed to what the CORD brigade would want us to do. Our record will not be based on how many political rallies did we hold. We will not be based on asking, is this senator bruised or is that principal bruised. Our record will be on, are the people of this country satisfied with the work that we've done. And to settle this question on whether is Jubilee or any member bruised, we are bruised only by the fact and reality of knowing that we have work to do, that the remaining 17 months will mean so much for us to ensure that our people can look back of this country and say, yes, for the last 5 years, we are happy to renew the contract of this government because the work they are doing, the promises that we have kept, that indeed we are focused. That's how we want to go. The by-elections are now gone. They're behind us. We have a bigger picture to look at.
Thank you very much, both senators. Our viewers, they want to make the decision. You are the ones who are going to vote. You are the one coming to next year. Make up your mind. Which party will serve you best?
Which coalition?